Okay, so today with your kids, we're going to do this little game that we do in much more detail in the self game that we do that's about reflecting on the self. So you can check that out if you kind of like this. We're going to do like the shorthand version. Plus, this is the version that's not just about reflecting on the self. This is when we're actually calling into awareness like each other. We're doing this as a team, as a family, as a point of closeness, and being able to reflect things back to each other and to be able to hear what each other says. This is an activity of like getting to know each other further and connecting more. So what we'll do is answer for one another. They answer for you and you answer for them. But they're also going to answer for themselves, okay? So actually probably answer these questions for yourself first and then answer them for each other. What do you surround yourself with the most? Pictures, plants, books, whatever, things that are surrounding you. And what do you spend the most of your time on? Okay, actual hours of the day. And of course, there are things that you have to spend your time on, especially like if you're a child and it's like, I have to go to school. Of course I spend that. But, look at all of it, especially the free time, especially the time that they have choice about. But the hours, what do you spend your time on the most? And then lastly, what do you spend your energy on the most? Which is not the same as what you spend your time on the most. And I want to make sure that that is distinct. What you spend your energy on is when you show up most fully, when you are most yourself. When you step forward with all of your energy and, all of who you are and just like feel like yourself the most, when you really shine through, that's what you're spending your energy on the most. And so we're asking this question of ourselves, these three questions, it's like, three questions, three areas that we're, fleshing out. And then we're answering it for the other person too. Like, I think you spend your most energy here, and I think you spend your most time here. I think that you really show up as you during these moments. I've seen you be your most self during these moments. I've seen you surround yourself with these things. I think these are the things that you surround yourself the most with, etc. And we're doing that for each other. This is basically informing us a lot about what we value. These three questions are information about what we value, because what we value or how we do these three things, what we surround ourselves with, what we spend our time on, what we spend our energy on, those reflect pretty immediately what we value. And so this is like a really nice conversation to get into with your kids, and a nice thing to go ahead and start exploring with your kids and to have them explore for themselves. That'll change in time. And yes, they have a lot of things that they kind of have to do and value and surround themselves with. I mean, their home space is your home space, so they might have to surround themselves with the things that you surround yourself with, or their room might need to be functional, or their time might need to be spent on things that are like necessities instead of, so of course it'll change. It's not like a 100% like, this is what your values are, they're set in stone. No, but it is still very interesting to start thinking this way and to start using each other as tools of reflection to be able to hear like, oh, how is that different from what I think? And you're learning how perspective can differ, because that's not the same as the way I would have answered. And you're hearing that, this person who's close to you would answer differently for you. And, trying not to get fired up about that. And instead appreciate it. Appreciate what they can offer you. They can offer you different perspective. They can point things out about you that you might not have noticed. They can point areas out that you might be blind to yourself. That's what, having others in your life is for, those blind spots. And even like being accountability partners, where it's like, hey, if these aren't the things that you value, then you might want to shift what you surround yourself with and how you spend your time and how you spend your energy. Or if these aren't the things that you value, then maybe you're not, or not the things you think you value. Maybe you're not being totally honest with yourself. Take another look at the way you're actually spending your time. That might mean you actually value something different. And of course, these are big and heavy questions that we can ask ourselves as adults. And it'll be really interesting to hear these beautiful child, simplistic sort of responses, where they're giving us feedback on what they think we spend our time and our energy and surround ourselves with the most. Sometimes they can just offer you something so simple and so pure from their fresh perspective that can be so deeply informative. But for them, they may not be as big of questions, but like I said, it's like pointing out how perspectives can be different, pointing out, how you spend your time and energy in life reflects your values, or should or could, reflect your values, and how you can learn about yourself by taking a look at the real things that you do in your life. So there's a lot of just like really valuable lessons in this exercise to me, especially for a kid, because it shows you that very principle of like, kind of you are what you do kind of thing, or, your actions reflect upon you, and the things that you surround yourself with, and the things that you spend your time on, and the things where you show up and put your energy on are the things you value. And you're not showing them that in this like punitive lesson way, not in this game anyway, but you're laying down a foundation of truth in it. You're showing them there's truth in it, right? I mean, like, ooh, I really see you showing up as your full self when you jump in that river and play and splash in the water, which is totally my daughter. So like, what does she value? Let's sort that out together, because that's when your energy comes alive. You're spending tons of your energy there in a good way. You're really showing up with your energy there. What does that mean? Playfulness, outdoor time, freedom. What is it that you're feeling in the river? Like what is that? What is it reflecting that you value? And this is just like bringing us into deeper conversation and deeper connection, talking about things that we might not think of otherwise, but it's part of the game and we're playing it. So I hope it brings you some more connection.